Let me start first with one anecdotal information on program for student of international assessment. It is called PISA. I'm sure some of you must have heard about it. In 2009, around 73 countries across the globe participated in this test, which was given to 15 years old children in those countries. And couple of countries were developed countries and couple of countries were developing countries like us. Out of those 73 countries, this test was for reading literacy and mathematics and science, which was given for 15 years old children. Our country participated in this test, and Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, these two states were selected by our country to represent in this test. It was a randomized test, and children from government schools, aided schools, private schools, international schools were selected to appear for this test. I just want to ask you one small question. This test was conducted in 2009. Can you tell me what will be the rank, what was the rank of our country out of 73? First? Okay. 73rd. We were ranked 73rd. There were 74 countries, and we were 73rd and not first. And 74th country was Kyrgyzstan. Bangladesh and Pakistan also were far ahead of us. I must congratulate Bangladesh for that. And at this juncture, I must congratulate Rotary for taking up literacy mission. Because the state of affairs in our country, so far as literacy goes, is literally dismal. It's really bad. And I know it's really very easy to give very heartwarming speeches, but I'm going to show you some statistical data which will probably open our eyes. Pratham is conducting a nationwide survey which is called ASER, Annual Status of Education Report. I think a couple of you must have heard about it. We have been doing it from 2005, and we started, in fact, doing this, conducting this survey across the country because you must have heard about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, for which all the people in the country pay cess, those who are taxpayers or those who are not taxpayers. This amount goes in the kitty of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and the mission of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, it's a flagship program of Government of India, initial government, and this program is continued by this government also. The focus of this program is to improve infrastructure and improve quality. Normally in our country, we don't ask questions to people, to the government, and we don't ask to the government what has happened to our money. Lots of money is going into this kitty. We taxpayer pay the money to the government, but actually the person who works in the farm, who's a landless laborer, he also pays tax or he also pays cess when he travels by the government transport. But actually nobody asks questions to the government. So we made an appeal to the Government of India. At that time, Mr. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, sorry for dropping names, was a planning commissioner, deputy commissioner of planning commission. And we requested him that why can't we just test children in our country and see how many of the children are reading and doing simple math. He liked the idea, but it took around 2 years for them to take decision. So in Pratham, we decided Pratham is relatively, in comparison, a very small organization, though we work in around 19 states. We decided that let us go to all in the whole country, and let us do randomized evaluation. And we got a shock of our life because we had started work in Mumbai. As just now it was told that I was working in Hindustan Petroleum, and my company sent me on deputation to work for Pratham for around 9 years. So when I started in 1996 to work in Mumbai, Madhav Chavan asked us to go in Mumbai slums, and he said that, why don't you just go and teach to the children? And like a naive social worker, we went to the slum communities, and I had got around 32 children who were in standard 4. So I wanted to teach them mathematics and history, geography. I started with history lesson. And to my surprise, almost out of 32, 15 children were not able to read. I thought I'm making some mistake and there is some problem with me because why kids have been promoted to up to standard 4 and they are not reading. Then I went back to the office and I told everybody that kids are not reading. And almost 50% of the children are not reading. And then we started this exercise of teaching children, teaching basics of mathematics, etc. Almost from 1996 to 2004, we were literally struggling with children in Mumbai and other parts of the country. And everybody were really surprised to notice that kids are not reading, kids are not studying, kids are not doing well in their studies, but they are being promoted in higher grades. What is happening? That's the reason this ASAR survey was conducted. We have 600,000 villages in our country and around 585 districts, out of which we go to around 577 districts across India, because in a couple of districts in Kashmir, some districts in Chhattisgarh like Dantewada, or due to insurgencies, some districts in Arunachal Pradesh, we cannot enter in those districts. But almost in every district we do randomized survey. It's a household survey. We go to those households and pick up children from 6 to 14, whether they are in school, out of school, in private school, aided school, international schools. We go to all these households and check whether these children are able to read, solve simple arithmetic sums, and check whether their school status is good. We visit all the government schools wherever we go. So this is the data that will give you some information on what exactly do we do while studying this, conducting this survey. Almost 25,000 volunteers participate. This year, around 250 dietes participated in this program. Most of the state governments don't like us because this particular survey is debated across the country, not only nationally but internationally. In this year, Kolhapur district, a couple of teachers' unions burnt our data because they were not in agreement with what we showed. I'll just show you a sample of what kind of reading test we conduct. This is a very simple test to understand. This test is basically for reading, and math test is slightly different. In this test, what we ask children to do is to read a simple paragraph first, which is of grade 1 level, and the big paragraph later, which is of grade 2 level. And this test is given to all the children from grade 1 to grade 8. Okay? If our children are not able to read these texts, then they are asked to recognize some letters or some words. Words also are not difficult like Dhrutarashtra, Maharashtra. They are very simple words like Gana, Mausi, kind of words. And you see the data now. Almost 52% children in our country in grade 5 are not able to read the text expected to be read by children in grade 2. Can you see this data? It is really, really dangerous. So the moment we start talking about demographic dividend, I think it can turn into demographic disaster. Because almost 50% of our population will be illiterate when they will attain age of 15 or 20. And that's the reason why I congratulated Rotary for taking up this task of literacy mission. We must clap, and I must clap for all of you because you have taken up this task of literacy mission. It is extremely important. What do we mean by literacy? What do we mean by literacy? Is it just reading? Or does it go beyond reading? Can our children think analytically or critically? Can they do that? Because the moment you have to solve a simple arithmetic sum of division, for example, and if it is a word division sum, you have to first read it, then you have to comprehend it, then your logical aptitude needs to be checked, whether you have understood the problem. Then you have to decide whether it is a division sum or it is a multiplication sum, and then you have to solve it. There are a couple of steps which are expected by just solving one simple sum. But if a child is not able to read the text, what is he going to do about it? In my class, it was a 4th grade class, and it was a Maharashtra class, and I was teaching to 4th standard children a history lesson of Shivaji. Shivaji was a great king of this particular region. He ruled this region 300 years ago. So one of the kids in my class came and told me, "Oh my God, I'm amazed, teacher." I said, "Why? What happened?" He said, "When Shivaji was ruling here, there was a stone age in Africa." I said, "What? Where is it coming from?" And then I realized that he had no clue what is a place value of 303 lakhs. In grade 6, they are supposed to learn timeline. Absolutely no clue who the Christ is, and why before Christ and why after Christ. Then we had to discuss amongst ourselves how to explain this to the children, because it talks about negative numbers. Then we had to take the example of the same child, and I said, if you are 10 years old, and if your Dadaji is older than you, and if your younger brother is younger than you, then before your birth and after your birth, have you understood how simple it is? He said, "Yeah, of course I understood." I said, "It is that simple. Christ was born on 1, so before his birth and after his birth." So the problem is now what our school teachers are doing. Do you seriously think that pointing at school teacher is going to solve our problem? No. Because pointing at somebody means 3 fingers are at us. And I think we as a country, we as a learned people, we as educated people are responsible for this dismal situation in the country today. Because we literally have been thinking about ourselves, about our own children, about our own society. But we never thought about the children who are there on the streets, who are there going in the government schools. We work with the school teachers on a large scale. In Maharashtra, this year only we are partnering with the government of Maharashtra, and we trained very recently 250,000 school teachers. They are not bad. They are really good school teachers. The moment you say 50% kids are not reading, I think we must understand 50% of them are reading. तो ग्लास भरा है या ग्लास खाली है, how are you going to look at it? And why are they reading? Because of the same school teachers. Nobody is going to teach them. They are not going for tuition classes. They don't have fancy classrooms, and they don't have electronic media to help them. But unfortunately, under the Act, Education Act, there is a provision which indicates that teachers are supposed to complete curriculum by law. Can you imagine in my classroom if I have 50% kids who are not reading, and if I am going to talk about trigonometry, how am I going to do that? I can't. So teachers must be given a confidence that देखिए आपको, you don't have to teach them thermal science or rocket science, just teach them basics of reading, writing and arithmetic. Just do that, but do it completely. Do it completely that none of our children will go and pass in higher grades without acquiring these basic skills. So what we are doing in Pratham now, we have started Read India movement, Padho Bharat. We have got inspiration from Gandhiji. Gandhiji said, Chodo Bharat. We have said, Padho Bharat. And what have we done? We have around some few 100,000, that is around 600,000 volunteers who are working with us across the country. How do we go and appeal to them? It's a simple story which I will tell you and I'll stop here. I'm sure you must have heard about Gandhiji's Dandi Yatra. So Gandhiji, from Sabarmati to Dandi, he walked for 248 kilometers in 23 days. When he started walking, there were around 100 people with him. The moment he reached to Dandi seashore, those few hundred people were turned into thousands of people. Gandhiji lifted salt. Thousands and lakhs followed him. And we changed fate of our country forever. We don't have to walk for 248 kilometers. Let us do something small in our own village, in our own province, in our own neighborhood. Pick up a book and read to a child. Some thousands will follow you, and we will change fate of our country once again. Thank you so much.